And hey, what's up? Call the spaceships to Davenport. Prepare for Divanarchy and interface with a couch in space. We skipped last week for Dragon Con, which is another planet in its own regard, but we are back here in outer space on a couch, which makes no sense, but sometimes you got to break the laws of physics for a good time. I always do. Speaking of breaking the laws of physics, the following releases from our sponsor are illegally cool. Brand new this week. It is a great new sponsor, Tiger Squawk Records. You want to check out Chaos Tracer from Ireland, Synaptic Breakdown. It's really good. Beta Virus's I Go to Fight remixes, super hot. Casting Curses from Science Fiction. He went like Witch House Trap. It's so good. 2 new singles from Sega Lugosi. You can't even, it's amazing. Squawk Jams, the Jock Jams tribute. Industrial covers of Jock Jams. Can you believe it? Raven Industry from Duckbag TM, more kind of IDM. The Church of Bryantology. That is all my side projects, most of them. Anhedonia from Toronto's Elias Anesthesia, super good. You want to check out the Gothicals Double Dragon Con, the Dragon Con single. That was a blast. Spare Parts, the new single from Seattle's Pill Brigade, and Tiger Squawk versus Cop International. Can you believe it? We're on a compilation with the guy from Mesh's side project, Black Car Burning, Deathline International, John Frayer, the producer of these new upcoming teen sensations. 9 Inch Nails is on that. And it's free. Check that out. That is all very exciting, but it is a distant second to today's guest. Oh, Michael from Grasp Logic's already in the chat room. I have a million questions. Normally we travel to planets I know of, but this is a world on which I have very little clue. So we're just going to get into it because we got the Gothic Gangster, the big bat himself, ladies and gentlemen, Trever Aeon. What is up, sir?
What up?
Oh man, thank you so much for coming on Space Couch. The buzz around you is so hot right now. I feel we could charge the engines based on your vibe. So you are again. Correct me if I use the wrong nomenclature, but you are an indie pro wrestler, and tell us about. Like, give us the state or the vibe, if you want to get a little woo woo off the bat, of like where is indie wrestling right now? Because I feel like it's really hot.
It's just a lot. The whole industry is going through like a lot of changes, and because of like the growing companies working together, especially the larger companies, like there's just a lot of opportunities floating around. A lot of people popping up in places where maybe you wouldn't expect. Like a lot of large names from like New Japan are like wrestling on TV here again for the first time, and I don't even know when.
That's Japan, like the actual country, Japan, not just a company called New Japan. Like so the Japanese wrestling's getting back in. Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
There's just because everybody's working together and there's more companies and more opportunities. Like wrestling feels super exciting. So there's a lot of people I know who I was just on a show with somebody last week, and then all of a sudden they're on TV.
Wow,
the week after. It's crazy.
It's like hot. It reminds you of just like .coms in the early 90s were just okay, we're gonna pick that one. It's pets.com or whatever. Like it's amazing. Dre, Space Couch, what's up, Dre? So high level, because it's an exciting time. If I'm, 16 and I'm watching AEW and I go, I kind of want to do that. Where does one start in the wrestling world?
The easiest thing, it's so funny because like now it's a lot easier when, so I started roughly about 11 years ago. I've technically been wrestling like actively, or it'll be 10 years in November.
Nice, man.
But you could probably kind of already say it was 10 years because when I started, I started in like 2011 or so training. and I found my school by just going to an indie show that my friend
Mm-hmm.
invited me to,
Wow.
and I just asked one of the guys at the show.
Okay.
Now you don't have to do that because there's so many schools, and all you have to do is really just pick a good school.
Okay.
And usually, if you ask like one of us, because I have fans sometimes message me who want to wrestle, especially younger fans, and they're like, "Hey, look, if I want to do this when I turn 18, you're like, whatever, where do I go?" And I'm like, "Well, here's where I live. Here's suggestions for schools in that area, or if you give me a general area for where you are, because I done wrestled in like 30 something of the 50 states at this point.
Wow.
So I know a little bit about most places, especially on the East Coast, because I've done everything over here, like up and down.
Okay.
So usually, and I may even know somebody. So usually, I can just kind of point people to schools.
Okay.
But it's easy to find schools now because there's so many of them.
Okay.
There used to not be. Like even in Atlanta right now, we have like.
You're in Atlanta. Okay.
Yeah. So we got like 5 or 6.
Wow.
And we used to have 2.
Okay, well, Ray, the guy who first turned me on to you, is in the chat room today. Says they even have him here in Rhode Island, where he is.
Yeah.
And he says, "What up, guys? 2 of my favorite folks on today." Oh, thanks, Ray. So there's schools in your area. You can. It's the access is there like never before. Now let's get into you. Let's actually play. Let's preface this with my couch is flying through space, so I have all sorts of inertial dampeners and so forth. But you at home may want to put on a seatbelt before we cut into the highlight reel, which we will do now. So yes, that was, we were just talking off screen, sort of fan offering, but that was that was an amazing highlight reel. Okay, so we have the Gothic Gangster himself. Where did the idea for now I was about to use the word character, but I'm not even sure if that's right, because my sense of it is there's this line blurring of reality. But you tell me, where does this start for you?
The only difference between Trever the wrestler and Trever the guy every day is that I don't get to hit people in the face if I disagree with
That's
them in real
amazing.
life.
But
that's about it.
That's that makes it, to me as a fan, I want to engage with this. I'll just use the word character for the sake of argument, but that dude can suplex the guy's face off, and he likes boot blacks. Like my guy. And so you're enough of a personality already, maybe. Let's put words in your mouth, that like when you're starting school, you're like, I don't need to shift that much. I'm just going to be this gothish, let's say. Like, I mean, who knows? But like, I'm gonna bring that fire and that meanness to it too, to create this crazy unique mix. Like, is there any sort of headspace you need to get into pre-match to sort of channel that, or is it just completely you?
I just have to go to like a place, especially usually like right before the bell rings, because once I go out there, I've already like turned up to like 40.
You're right. It's you've locked it on. The launch sequence has been punched in an hour ago.
Yeah. So
Okay.
once the bell rings, I just have to get to like I try to treat it like so I was in boxing before,
Okay.
and I try to treat it like that. So
Mm.
when the bell rings and it's time to box, your hands are up, you're ready to fight, you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
win. I do the same thing when the bell rings in wrestling. I
Okay.
know that obviously it's scripted, whatever, but I don't act like that while I'm in there.
Nice. Nice.
And it makes it so that it never comes across that way.
How does it start for you? Like, give us a little bit of the superhero origin story. You're just like watching, Diamond Dallas
Yeah.
Page or whoever. Yeah.
So I remember I was like 5 or 6, and I
Uh
walked into my grandma's room, and she was watching these dudes fight, and they was wearing these crazy outfits,
huh.
and I was like, "What is that?"
Mm-hmm.
And I sat down with her, and I was just like, "I don't know what this is, but it's great. Like,
Yeah.
it's amazing." And every week, I would look for more of it. I would keep
Mm-hmm.
watching it. As I got older, I learned about more. They got wrestling in Japan, and they got
Mm-hmm.
wrestling here, and there's these wrestlers and those wrestlers, and I was just like, and then YouTube became a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm watching like independent wrestling that I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even know that was a
You're
thing.
right.
And at some point, so I used to sit in chemistry class in high school with this dude, and like it was me and 2 other dudes, and we would just talk about pro wrestling. That's all we would talk about.
Right.
We really barely paid any attention in class.
Right. Yeah.
And like out of nowhere, a few years after high school, that one of the dudes hit me up and was like, "Hey man, remember we were always talking about wrestling? Well, I'm a pro wrestler now." And I was like, "What?
Right.
You could do that?
Right.
What do you mean?" And he invited me to the show, so I went to the show. And when the show was over, I literally just walked up and like, "Hey, look, how can I do this?" Because
Right. Just
I didn't know it was possible.
right.
So I ended up going back to that show a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys let me get in the ring, kind of like stand around and be security, kind of help
Mm-hmm.
set up the ring, help with like concessions and the chairs and stuff like that. And then I went to one show, and a guy told me because he saw us like in the ring, and they were like explaining stuff to me, and he told me who his trainer was.
Mm-hmm.
It ended up being a guy named Micah Taylor, and he gave me the address to his school, and I just went that day.
Nice.
And it's funny because the dude's like, "Yeah, man, I'll
Oh,
be
you went.
there too." So I'm on the way up there, and he's like, "Hey," so I'm not coming today, and I'm like,
Oh
"But I don't know nobody."
no. Trial by
So
fire.
yeah, and it was like an hour and a half from where I lived at the time.
Okay.
So I'm just like, "Well, I'm already down here, so I gotta go now."
Right.
But damn it, I don't know anybody.
Right.
Whatever. So I walked in, and my trainer and his wife are like sitting at this table, and my trainer's like, he's not super tall, but he's a tank.
Mhm.
He's a fucking tank. So he's just sitting there like, bam.
Right.
And I'm like, oh God, because I was in boxer shape still. Like I wasn't. I was probably 180 pounds.
a little bit smoother, or
Yeah,
okay.
little smaller, like real cut, but like a little smaller. I hadn't really started lifting heavy like I do now, and just I was like, huh. Well, if I can box, I can do this.
Right.
And then when we started doing stuff, and I'm like, okay, so there's a big difference between being in shape and being in shape for wrestling.
Fascinating. Well, I will want to get into that. That is crazy. What's a little bit more high level, because I'm curious. Talk about the relationship you have with your opponent in the ring. Like, yeah,
Sometimes it's a person I just met for the first time.
really.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, let's figure this out. Kind of improv.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because sometimes it's your friend and it's somebody you grew up watching. Like I remember I wrestled Sabu, and he was going to explain his moves to me, and I'm like, bro, I grew up watching you. You know, just when we're out, just when you're ready for it, when we're out there, just let me know. Because I watched him when I was like 15.
Right.
I know everything he does, and I didn't have to really it's not something I have to prepare for.
That's amazing.
Then you wrestle somebody who you've never met, who you never heard of. I don't know what you do.
Right.
So
or how you have to do it. There's a danger.
To be able to explain it to me in a way that I can understand, or you have to be able to do it well enough that it doesn't matter if I understand it or not. Because I know my offense and my defense are really unorthodox sometimes.
Okay.
So a lot of times I just tell people like, listen, just let me have you, and then afterwards we'll do something else, because it's easier for you to just be a canvas for me than it is for me to try to explain all these things I'm about to do.
That sounds like a lot of fast trust you need to place in somebody.
Very fast.
Okay, like let's try to get out of this with a minimum of contusions
without breaking your neck.
Right, guy I just met 6 seconds ago. I hope you know how to, clothesline properly or something like that. Cool. I mean, I find it fascinating. It probably sucks at the time if you
sometimes, because I've had matches with people who had 2 weeks of training.
And you can probably tell pretty quick, huh?
Yeah. Okay. And going back to like my own training at 2 weeks, you don't know how to do anything.
Okay.
You can fall properly, maybe.
Right.
If you learn fast. Like I learned that stuff real fast. So I learned how to roll. I learned how to fall properly. I learned how to hit the rope. A lot of that stuff came to me really, really quick. I don't know if that's just because I was in boxing before and I was used to getting punched in the face or what, but that stuff was easy. It was when we started doing things to each other that stuff got hard, because I didn't have any like grappling training. I did jiu-jitsu for a couple months, not for long enough for it to matter.
Right.
And I didn't amateur wrestle in high school, so a lot of that stuff I had to learn like on the job, which is great because my trainer was an amazing collegiate wrestler. Okay. And he's a Marine. So he just treated us like that.
What a path.
Yeah. So it some stuff comes fast, some stuff doesn't. But when you're at 2 weeks, you don't know how to do nothing. So I had to teach that guy a bunch of stuff before we went to the ring. And I'm like, okay, so all that stuff I just showed you, now I'm going to regurgitate it back to you in there. You just have to repeat it.
Right. And sell it.
We're going to do it in the same order. Like everything I just said, we're going to do all that again. You just got to repeat it.
Awesome.
I promise you. It was super easy. But it's scary as hell when...
Sure.
In 2 weeks, you're like, damn, dude.
We're going out there, and people are, they paid money. You want to put on a good show, and do you have complete autonomy over your character stuff or like interview stuff, or do they give you guidance there?
Since I'm independent, pretty much.
Cool.
Nobody, and a lot of times, like especially on the independents, we usually decide if we're gonna do promos or videos or whatever. So a lot of times that's all on you anyway. I early on, because now kind of everybody's doing it, but early on, like probably around like 2012, 2013, I started making my own videos anyway, because I used to go to shows and ask for time to talk because I knew I was good at talking.
Okay.
But they wouldn't, like, promoters like, but it was always an excuse. And I was like, you know what? I don't have to wait to tell the story.
Nice.
I have a phone with a camera.
Right.
I can learn how to edit my own videos. And from there, I was just like, you know what? I'll do it myself.
Putting the indie in indie wrestling.
You tell me who my opponent is, I'll have you a video in a couple days.
I love it. I love it. Just like, we're just going to do it, man. I never thought I'd have a TV show, but I got a camera and, I'm defying the laws of physics with the flying couch. I do have that. That is outside of the norm. So 30 states, holy shit. What is the work schedule like for you?
So I'm generally in training like all week.
Wow.
At the gym and in training. So I spend couple hours working out and then maybe 4 or 5 in the ring, like Monday through Thursday.
Well, it's a full-time gig for you then.
Usually Friday through Sunday I'm wrestling.
Wow.
Sometimes on Thursdays. Some weeks I'm busier than others. Some weeks I'm not doing anything.
And that's all through different organizations? Like you might get it, or is it not? It just appears to me to be
that's all different.
So you're not like with, fill in the blank, like Game Changer or whatever. Like you just get a call. Is it okay? I guess I got to be in Tennessee this weekend, or
pretty much. Yeah.
All right.
Like this week I wrestled in Athens, Georgia, which is great because it's an hour from where my house is. And then next week I'm in Florida.
Wow.
And I think not the week after that, I don't have anything, so I get to stay at home for a weekend finally, which is good because October I'm gonna be gone like every weekend. So,
Okay, it's
and yeah,
well, we were talking before the show. We do the same thing. I think you just throw a couple more power bombs in,
pretty much.
like, like we'll just be there and we'll figure it out. And here's the
Hmm.
PA at the Crab Shack in Baton Rouge or some shit. And you go, all
Literally,
right.
because you never you
Yeah,
just never know.
you,
I hate not knowing because I like to do my entrances a certain way, so I
sure.
like to look at the building before I decide what I'm gonna do. But a lot of times you just don't fucking know what you're walking into.
Yeah, like
You have
okay,
no
so
idea.
the stage goes there to there, and if you step there, you'll die.
Yeah,
You're on in 20 minutes. All right.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, that's
Uh-huh.
that's a fun synchronicity. Well, for all that we have in common, what's something about indie pro wrestling that people even in 2021 might not understand?
Um, I think still to this day, like a lot of people don't understand how much of a job it is and how
Mm,
many hats you yourself have to wear to do that job.
it seems
Like
daunting.
it is because sometimes even like emailing promoters, I'm just like, I don't feel like doing this.
Oh wow, yeah.
I have days where I'm just like, all right, but I'm gonna be in Texas, so I should ask this guy if he needs another guy because I'm
Yeah.
coming through there anyway. So I might as well ask because he's probably gonna be like, yeah, just come by. Because sometimes I'll stop in places that's on my travel path
Hmm.
just because there's a show there and I've never been, or one of
That's
my friends is on the
awesome.
show, or I see a match on the show that I want to see. Because sometimes I want to see like people wrestle too. Because
Sure.
I'm a wrestler, but I'm still a fan. Like I still love
Uh,
what we do,
totally.
and I'll hit the guy up like, yeah, man, I'm coming through. Like if you need some help or whatever, just let me know. I'll be there. I'll buy a ticket. That's fine.
Mm.
And
So it's
somebody will not show up.
really independent. Like
Yeah.
meaning I grew up, I'm 41, so I grew up like with everybody's perception of like Andre the Giant and Macho Man and all that
Which
is
I'm
in my
34, so it's not that
it's
not
not it's not
huge.
it's not crazy, but like I'm just
Hmm.
putting you in context of like
Yeah.
it's all coming from this umbrella in my 9-year-old brain
Yeah.
of then WWF, maybe this WCW thing, the
Hmm.
the GoBots of wrestling, but the and so but it's all sort of decreed as
Yeah.
opposed to where it is now where it's just like yo YouTube you do you man that's which
Yeah.
is
Pretty
I
much.
think pretty exciting because that's how this program works. I wasn't aware is that
Yeah.
out there is it if it's that indie is it regulated anyway, like do you have to say like I'm not gonna break this dude's neck if I do the move wrong?
Some places no,
Okay.
because some states have like really strict athletic commissions,
Uh-huh.
but some states don't have one at all.
Okay.
So you just like Georgia, nobody says anything to us about anything here.
Okay.
We might get noise complaints depending on where the show is. Whereas New York, there's always doctors at the shows.
Oh
There's
really?
always an
Okay.
ambulance outside. I just did Kansas City a couple weeks ago, and
Hmm.
you have to bring your blood work and a physical and
Oh
all of
really?
that.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to get a license. Alabama, you have to have a license to wrestle there. It's cheap, but you have to have one,
Okay.
and you got to get a physical and fill out a form and all that to get it. And there's a lot of places like that. South Carolina's like that. Kentucky's like that. Like some places regulate us the same way they do boxing, kickboxing, and MMA,
Okay.
which honestly is kind of cool because of like it's hard to do wrestling and not get hit in the mouth or bite your
Well,
tongue or
sure.
bleed or whatever. So it's nice to have like safeguards,
Right.
even though sometimes they're like out of control or sometimes they exist but they don't care. So
What do you
like you'll
mean?
have an athletic commission who they take your money, they give you a
Oh,
license,
right.
but they don't do any work.
Yeah. Well. I mean, if you're gonna get any money, we want to wet our beak, but you pull the staples from the staple gun out of your
Yeah,
face.
yeah. And I'm just like,
Still pay us, but
you still
you.
have to have money. You still have to pay us to come do this, but we kind of don't care what happens to
I
you.
mean, you take a steel chair to the back. That's on you.
Yeah.
Uh, all right. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I want to ask one more wrestling thing before we jump over and do a little bit more of the music side, just because we had a little bit of a happy accident. I haven't seen it yet. We've been so busy with shows and stuff, but we're giant nerds here on Space Couch, so I was super pumped to see Arrow is now on a show called Heels on, I think, Stars, that you were almost on.
Yeah,
That's awesome, man. That's
there's just way too many opportunities to like audition for that show, and every single time I was somewhere else. And just I would check, and I gotta be better about checking my damn emails. But I would be like on the road at a rest stop, like, okay, let me see what's oh shit. Well,
yeah.
I need to be in. Where's this? Georgia? No, that's not happening because
Right.
I'm in fucking Texas. And that's not, no,
I'm at
there's no way.
fucking Flying J in Bowling Green, Ohio. So I can't do it. Like, that's amazing.
That happened to me. Oh my god, that happened to me a bunch of times when I was in Japan. Like I was getting emails for stuff here, and I was just like, I'm not gonna get back in time for that. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm sorry that happened. Like, I hope that show does well, but let's not bury the lead. How is Japan?
Life changing.
Okay.
Life changing.
Tell me everything.
So wrestling in Japan, there's so much respect, and not just from like wrestler to wrestler, wrestler to promoter, but from the fans.
Okay.
Like the appreciation is different.
Really?
And it's so like heavy that just you can feel it when you do things.
Because you're actually giving me like those performer chills right now. Like, just because I love playing like small goth bar shows. That's like our bread and butter. But it is undeniable for me, the feeling when you walk out and you're, okay, this is a different thing now. So that's Japan, huh?
And I was so worried because I'm just like, I know I'm weird looking. I got bright red eyes. I'm covered in spikes, and they're either gonna be like, "What the hell is that?" or "Oh wow!" And it was it was. I got lucky that it was like
it went over. You went over well.
I went through the curtain, and people were like, "Oh my god, who is that?" And I'm just like, "Oh, all right, cool."
So, when are you going back to Japan?
I don't know. Hopefully soon.
Okay, so that
I've kept in contact as much as I could.
Hell yeah.
So
did they just
call
you?
Because I want to make sure that door stays open.
Hell yes. Did they just give you a call like, yo, look, we need the Gothic Gangster in Tokyo?
That's what that's pretty much how it's going right now.
Amazing.
It's just gonna be a like, hey, look, so these dates, what can you do? I'll be there.
Do they give you like
twice about it?
Yeah, Japan. I've never been. Do they give you like a translator? Can you get around or?
I just kind of figured it out.
Okay.
Like when I got off the plane, I kind of just inferred looking at the directions and stuff on the walls, where to go. And then when I got to the train station, because I had to ride a train to get to the dojo, I literally just pulled up the address on my phone and I showed the train operator. And he like walked me over to the gate, showed me how to use it. Yeah, it was super cool because we couldn't really talk, but he was just like, this, here, third stop, get off, walk across the street. And I'm like, oh well, that was cool. That was nice.
That's amazing. So
yeah,
I'm so happy that match went over well. I'll have to find that online. I'm assuming it's out there.
It's in my YouTube somewhere. There's a lot of videos on there.
So check out. I'm glad you said that. Let's do a little bit of a plug. Everybody, check out Trever Aeon on YouTube. Tons of content. The interviews and the promos are amazing. The ability is there. We of course saw that in the highlight reel. Do you have a finisher right now?
Yeah, my finishers. Well, I have two.
Okay.
The one that I use most often is the Scar Maker elbow.
Nice.
There are so many variations of it because I've done it from so many different positions. But normally the guy's kneeling and I jump from the side and elbow him in the face.
Nice.
But now I did a new one last night where I had the guy's wrist, pushed him away from me, spun into him and elbowed him in the face. It was really cool. I think the video is going up tomorrow, so I can't wait for everybody else to see that because no one's seen that outside of training.
We gotta check out the new variation of the Scarlet. I'm sorry, give the name one more time of the finisher.
Scar Maker elbow.
Give the new variation of the Scar Maker elbow. Makes its YouTube debut soon. Check that out. We do love us some industrial music here on Space Couch, and
Yeah.
Metropolis Records, boss of the game, their Twitter says unofficial record label of the big bad Trever Aeon. How'd that come to pass?
So honestly, I don't know.
I love it. I love it.
I
That's because
literally
you're killing it, man. Like you're so hot right now.
like no, and nobody told me that that was up there. I just looked at their Twitter because I look
No
at their
shit.
Twitter regularly because
Right.
half the music I listen to comes from that label.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
So I was just like, Lala, oh, what? Oh, when did that happen?
Oh, that kicks so much
I
ass.
honestly have no. I don't know when it went up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who put it there, and it's
Mm.
still there, and it just makes me. I think after I saw it, I screenshotted it, and I'm like, okay, this makes me the best wrestler in the world.
That you yes.
I don't really care what
You
what
are
else
the
happens.
best wrestler. And
So excited.
that's you're the industrial wrestler. That's so exciting.
It's so funny too because like I had like my nickname's the original Gothic Gangster, but that
Right.
very easily could have been the industrial gangster. Like that's the main basis of most of the music I listen
Sure.
to.
And you
So-
get the alliteration the other way. It's all good.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I'm gonna keep it because it sounds really catchy. But it could have easily been either or both.
Word. What's up to Dan Gunther in the chat room? Grasp Logic here, of course. So what's in your playlist right now? No wrong answers.
What was I listening to? I was listening to a whole lot of Ego Likeness this week.
Oh, hey,
Because-
love it, love it.
Yeah, I'm wearing the weight shirt. I'm
Very
listening
cool.
to them a lot because they just put an album out, and
Love it.
A Starry Night has been
Okay.
playing a lot. Angel Spit's new single just came out. So I've
Yeah.
been listening to that like
We
back
are-
to back on loop.
All about that new Angel Spit single here on
Yeah.
the couch. And we just had Steven Archer on last week. Or
Oh
tonight.
man, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I wish I'd known that.
Oh, it was a
Hell
good
yeah.
episode. Those are all up at facebook.com/Space
Oh, yeah.
Couch Show or YouTube or Twitch. But Twitch takes them down because I'm cheap. That's
Grr.
so. Yes, check out the new one from The Wake and the new Eagle Lakes, the new Stone Burner. I'll throw in there is
yeah.
super hot. So awesome! I love it. You're fitting right into the Space Couch pantheon of preferred industrial music. Another sort of Space Couch classic question. Have you now, or have you ever thought about getting into the music game yourself?
So this is gonna be a fun answer. So before I got into wrestling,
Mhm.
I was actually in a band
Okay.
and I rapped.
Okay.
So and all that music has now since been like deleted from the ether.
Right.
But-
Right.
But I put out an album. I put out 2 videos.
Oh, awesome.
My band broke up before we got to do anything for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I started tinkering around with just like music programs on my phone.
Uh-huh.
Nothing has happened yet, but stuff is going to happen. We getting there. If wrestling didn't eat up so much time, we would get there already.
Yeah,
But
it seems
wrestling
like
eats up everything.
it's incredibly time intensive.
Yeah.
Just in terms of not even the travel and the thing of it, but just the preparation and the nutrition. Let me not bear the lead. Very excited by that answer, sir. We will wait with bated breath on whatever musical offerings we may get from Trever Aeon, the industrial wrestler. That is dope as fuck. Speaking of getting into games, if there was a Trever Aeon video game, what might that look like?
You know what? It would probably be like a side scrolling beat 'em up like Streets of Rage.
Oh, love it.
Probably
Love
something like that.
Love it.
And I would just fill it with like goth and industrial music, and we'd like fight in different like goth bars around.
Very
it.
cool. I will say Faderhead did one. I am a playable character in that. I will direct
That's a
you to.
thing.
Yeah, Faderhead made a Streets of Rage type game, and if you beat
What the
it
fuck?
like
Fuck yeah.
one time,
That's awesome.
yeah, like I have squid powers. It's awesome. But no, but Les, yes, I would love a Trever Aeon beat 'em up. Oh man, you could get your buddies in there because you do a
Yeah,
fair amount of tag team work from what I saw, or is that
yeah. Like,
inaccurate? Okay.
I have. I'm in like I'm in a stable and like
Mm-hmm.
3 or 4 different tag teams in different places. So like my partner in Florida, I only usually team with him in Florida.
Okay.
But then my guys here, the left hand path guys, there's 4 of us.
Mm-hmm.
And normally if I like travel somewhere with a team, it's usually one of those guys. But then sometimes like recently I teamed up with Katie Arquette in New Jersey, and I think we're gonna do that again.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably gonna happen again.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm in like 3 tag teams right
That
now. There may
sounds
be
a
another
lot
one.
like industrial side projects. Like,
I say that all the time. I'm like,
oh,
I'm
awesome.
literally the equivalent of a dude with too many side
Because
projects.
it's like, I mean, that's how I got on with our mutual friend Zach recently in Atlanta,
Yeah,
because I was there and he was there, and I know he knows what he's doing, and so we formed our own tag team there. But
yeah,
that's if that's cool. So you're like, all right, I'm gonna be in Addison, Texas, and Rich is there. Now we are. Let her fill in the blank, like
yeah,
coffin stealers or something like that. You just make it up.
yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know. So, um, do you have a preference to the form of solo or tag team work?
Not really.
Mm-hmm.
Like my trainers encouraged us to be good at everything.
Mm.
So I always try to like just do everything. Like I always like I want to be in a good tag team. I want to be in a good stable. I want to be a good singles wrestler. It's
Mm.
just it's just a lot more fun. You get a lot more variety. You can tell a lot more stories when you can just do a lot of different stuff. So it
Cool.
just kind of depends on the day usually because I don't really have like a real preference. So
Okay.
I'm not one of
Oh
those
wow.
guys who will be in a team and be like, well, I wanted to be world champion. If I'm in a team and our team is doing good, then we're just gonna keep trudging
That's
along until we get bored or stale and have to do something else.
that's amazing. I love that attitude. Uh, do you and I mean, we can punch out this question if you want, but like, do you have to work around it? Got a lot of guys who are like, I'm just here to be the next Ultimate Warrior. Fuck you. I'm not gonna work.
It happens.
Okay,
It does happen. And usually like a lot of times you can tell
okay,
who has kind of an attitude like that. And you just those people are hard to work with. I just kind of work around them.
right, okay.
Like I say this all the time with no hyperbole. I could probably have a good match with a pillow as my tag partner if I really had to. Like
Awesome. Well, that'd be the
I
ultimate
feel you
challenge,
could
right?
yeah, you could drop me in just about any because I've been dropped into some crazy situations in front of an audience, and I'm just like, well, we're gonna have to make this entertaining
Wow.
somehow.
Like,
So,
can you give us one like high level? Like, what happened?
uh, that one earlier, wrestling a dude who had been training for two
Oh,
weeks.
okay, yeah.
Uh, I remember before like intergender wrestling is kind of a big thing now,
Oh, wow.
but
Okay.
it wasn't always. So you
Right.
never wrestled women. And then one day I showed up at a show and my opponent didn't come and her opponent didn't come. So the promoter was like, well, I don't know what to do with y'all. And he's like, what? Why don't y'all just wrestle each other? And I was like, whatever, that's fine. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care. And she didn't care. So I was like, well, we're just gonna go out there and have like we'll have a match and we'll figure it
Okay.
out when we get out there. Now, since the guy was supposed to wrestle, I had watched like a whole bunch of his matches before that, so I had all
Mm.
these ideas. I was prepared for this dude, and then I got here and I had never met this girl before, so I didn't know
Uh-huh.
anything she did. So I'm just like, so, uh, yeah, just I don't know, just explain to me your stuff, and we'll put it in place when we get out there.
Well,
And we ended up.
she would definitely be a character in your Streets of Rage 2
She
visit.
has
Oh
to be.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like when Splinter gives the turtles the mission at the start of the game to be your trainer, like the one that's
Mm-hmm.
like just built like a bicep.
You're
Uh,
going here to do this.
yeah, like the mission is in Poughkeepsie or whatever.
Yeah,
We're gonna take down the rec center at
gonna blow up that whole school. But first, you must
yeah.
defeat all their students. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And that's you beat like guys named like Mikey and Bill. And
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Oh man, sign me up. I know we have some video game developers here, so check in with us after the show for that Trever
Yeah.
Aeon video game. Um, Gonna spring 2 questions on you that just sort of came up. I'm interested in the nutrition angle. Like, give me your breakfast, lunch, and dinner on a normal Normal day.
So usually I normally have about 4 or 5 meals a day.
Oh, really? Okay.
Two of which are generally smoothies.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to work at a smoothie store when I first started
Hmm.
wrestling. I was working at a smoothie shop, and I learned way too much about smoothies, and I have
Okay.
been using it in my life ever since because
Okay.
those things changed my life. So I can get away with having 2 or 3 of those as meals, but then after
Okay.
that, it's normally, especially recently, we've been having cauliflower rice,
Mm.
which helps me chill out on the carbs because for a while I was like going nuts because I was getting
Okay.
bigger and I was deadlifting heavy, so I was eating everything in sight, and I
Uh-huh.
was trying to calm down on that because I was like, okay, well now I'm just getting like just doing this.
Mm.
I don't want to do that. So I'll have like cauliflower rice with a meat. Like it'll be
Okay.
chicken or I'm big on seafood, so a lot of times it's some
Word.
kind of fish.
Me
I
too.
really like the ahi tuna steaks, and they're
Okay.
easy to cook and they take like 5 minutes.
Not too
And I
carby.
can yeah, and I can make like 4 or 5 at once and just flip them real quick and be done with them.
Okay.
And then like usually I'll throw broccoli or asparagus or spinach in there with those 3 things.
Hmm.
And a lot of times my lunch and dinner is variations of those same meals.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll be chicken, sometimes it's beef. If I'm just fancy, I'll go and buy a steak if I feel
Okay.
like dealing with it. If I can find one that's a good grade, because sometimes I've made the mistake of buying bad steak that is just all fat, and I'm
Is
just like,
it
this isn't.
is protein the goal, or is it just like a macro that you're trying to hit?
Uh, yeah, for the most
Okay.
part.
Cool.
And
Cool.
then I'm trying not to like eat too much bread and grains and
Right.
pasta like I was before because I was just eating I was
Yeah.
just all the time. And like I'm usually hungry every 2.5 hours or so.
Yeah. I hear
So
that.
yeah, so in the mornings I have that first smoothie and then I go off and do whatever I'm doing. And I try to make it to lunchtime.
Hmm.
Doesn't always work.
Yeah.
So I need like snacks. I've been eating. Oh wait, I got a bag right here. I've been eating these pop chips a lot.
Okay.
These
Cool.
things are delicious. I don't know how
All
healthy they are,
right.
but the stats on them are pretty good.
Okay.
And I've been overdosing on these,
Understood.
as you
Uh,
can see by the giant bag that's in my
well,
bedroom.
you burning mad calories,
Yeah, and
uh,
I run straight through it because
crushing
you
dudes' orals.
spend 2 hours lifting weights and then 4 hours like doing wrestling stuff.
I
Especially when
believe.
you got new students because you got to show them everything, which means you got to do it 100 times.
Oh my gosh! So you instruct people as well then?
Yeah, like I'm technically not like I'm not the trainer,
Uh
but
huh.
I help my trainer a lot because I'm always there.
Oh,
So
awesome, awesome.
yeah. So well,
Um,
can you show them this since you're here and you know it already? Yeah.
well, who are your all-time favorite wrestlers?
Oh, I love this question because
Mm.
it like I feel like this list changes a lot.
Yeah,
But so I'm not gonna put them in order. I'm just gonna rattle off people.
yeah, no wrong answers.
Macho Man Randy Savage,
Hell yeah,
Edge, Raven, Booker T, Ron Simmons,
love it.
Tuco Scorpio. I'm about to throw out a whole bunch of Japanese names. Obviously, the Great Muta, whose company I was wrestling
Okay.
for in Japan. Kaz Hayashi. I gotta say his name right. Hold on.
Yeah,
Because I don't want to mess his name up. Because I always mess it
yeah.
up.
I put you on the spot. So
Masato Tanaka, who is
okay.
the inspiration for my elbow finish, actually.
Oh,
Because
awesome.
he does an elbow called the sliding D. And I was watching a bunch of his matches one day, and I'm like, man, that's what I should do. I should knock people out with an elbow. But I couldn't figure out what one to do, and I didn't want to do his because that's messed up. So
Hmm.
I had to come up with one. And I did a bunch of elbows on this poor dude at training until I found one that worked. Oh, God, Minoru Suzuki. Love Minoru Suzuki.
Okay.
I want to be Minoru Suzuki.
What's that?
Hmm?
What's that?
Minoru Suzuki's older Japanese wrestler, a lot older than me, but he also helped create Pancrase in Japan,
Okay.
and so he's I guess a legit fighter too,
Mm.
and just he's a scary human being. Like
Okay.
if you watch him, like especially if you go back and watch like his Pancrase fights, like
Uh-huh.
that dude's not human. I was like, who
Just
moves that fast in real
okay.
life? Yeah, crazy. craziness.
Love it.
Let me stop naming all these older people, and I'll name some current people too, so
Oh,
people
sure.
don't think that, oh, you're just the old guy. I love CM Punk.
Cool.
I love Bryan Danielson. Big fan of Kazuchika Okada in New Japan right now. Jay White, another Japan guy. Who else do I really, really, really like watching? Before I start naming my friends, and then y'all will know who any of those people are.
Well, yeah, give us something to watch for then.
If you've never seen a guy named Joe Black, you've never seen him wrestle before,
Okay.
find him.
Joe
He's
Black.
he's easy to find. William Huckabee. He teams with a guy named Hold My Beer Hansen. Yes, that's really his tag. That's really his name. But they're themed after Waffle House.
Oh my
So the tag
God.
name is All Star Special. They are amazing. Absolutely
Oh, we
amazing.
love it.
Yeah.
Love it. So, yeah, I was gonna catch UFO wrestling here in Boston, but it was the night before
I
a
wrestled
big.
there once.
Nice, nice. I
Yeah, I've been
couldn't
wanting
make
to
it
go
out.
back for a while, and I just
Well,
haven't had to change it.
let me know if you're coming on up. We'll definitely make it out, man.
I absolutely will.
What? Well, that's a nice segue into what is next for the mighty Trever Aeon.
Well, um, right now I know we're like kind of trapped in the freaking pandemic, but I'm trying to. So I popped up on AEW once.
Nice.
I
That's the
definitely
big
want to
one
do.
right now, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I
Okay.
definitely want to do that again. My number one thing on my list is always to get back to Japan again. But I haven't been to England, Germany, or Mexico yet, so I really want to do those.
Love it.
And I haven't been to California at all. Like I've been to California, but I haven't wrestled in California. So that's a big one. Jason from God Module was telling me about Defy in I guess Seattle.
Oh.
So I really want to go up there. One, just to hang out with him.
Yes.
Two, because
He's
I
awesome.
haven't wrestled in Seattle, and it's like one of the last like 3 on my list. Like Seattle, Chicago, and California
Very
are
cool.
the only places that I want to go that I haven't been, or that I haven't wrestled in.
That's really exciting.
I've been through them, but I haven't done anything there.
How's it work? Like, is it just like meaning? How do you get like moving up? Do you just try to get noticed and then somebody gives you a call?
Pretty much, it's just like music. Like,
yeah,
like if you get enough of a buzz, they'll come looking for you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in my position where you don't have like a crazy gigantic buzz, you have to just kind of hope you meet the right person.
Well, you do Space Couch is what you do.
Exactly.
Do you have like a merch we should be checking out?
I will in about a week.
Oh, that's like all sorts of exciting announcements here. This is the best episode.
I haven't launched the store yet because I wanted to wait until I had everything on there the way I wanted it. And then I had to buy the URL, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wait until I have all this stuff before I launch it.
Smart.
Now it's just because I'm still doing the technological work on my computer, but I'm almost done. So as soon as I'm done, and then when I get back from wherever the hell I'm supposed to be going to Florida next week.
Wow, cool.
Probably when I get back from Florida, I'll sit down and finish. And just upload and just like let the thing go probably Monday or something.
So we're gonna watch out for some new tunage coming from Trever Aeon, some new merch definitely, and you have a match in Florida this weekend.
Yeah. Saturday is Florida, and Sunday is back in Georgia. Actually,
Sunday, if you're gonna, do you know where in Florida?
Yes, I'm going to be in Melbourne, Florida, with a company called Atomic Revolutionary Wrestling.
Okay. Oh, we have Dom Price from Finite Automata says, "Oh yeah."
Dom. Hello.
Hi. Yeah.
Love you.
Yes. So you. I'm sorry, you gave out the date, and I completely forget. It's where in Florida is that?
Melbourne,
Florida.
Basically Orlando.
All right. So yeah, if you're in the Orlando area, check out
Atomic Revolutionary Wrestling.
I went and Atomic Revolutionary Wrestling. I'm sure it's going to be a great card. Then back in Georgia, are you in Atlanta? Yeah.
Well, technically kind of West Georgia, but that's a company called Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment. Great company to work for, because they just like, it's funny too, because these two shows, the Florida show and the Georgia show, they're both like all bets are off, not PG. Do whatever the fuck you want kind of shows.
Sure.
And there's a very like an underground like fight club kind of feel to both of them.
Cool.
Yeah, these two of my favorite shows to be on because I can like cut loose, and I love to cut loose. I'm
There's
ready to do the PG thing if I'm on TV or something, but if I could just
just
fire off and go
yeah.
nuts,
It
I'd
is a
love
lot of fun. And there was a giant wrestling component too. I'm sorry to keep bringing it up, but we just did this Dragon Con, so it's like it's in my head. But
it.
like
Yeah.
that Thursday night, like it's blowing up there. Like, would
Uh
love
huh.
to see you at that. That I think you would kill. I mean,
I don't know who runs that, but for some reason, I cannot convince whoever is doing it to like use me on that show.
it
And I'm
took us
sitting
a
here
long
like,
time.
half my friends are here, right?
Right. Yeah. Please take in the spirit in which it is intended, because we are over the moon to not only play but headline Dragon Con. But just for your edification, it's
Mhm.
you're sitting there going like, "Yo, I know we would kill," and they're going, "Yes, I know, but we also have 3,000 applicants and stuff like
Yeah.
that." So,
Yeah, pretty
but
much.
just because we were talking about the craft itself earlier, it's encouraging as we're talking about this to see like how popular it is. And
Yeah.
we had Ben Arp from Cat on as an early guest here
Oh,
on
yeah.
Space Couch, and he was writing about these young upstarts called AEW at the time. And then I
Hmm.
saw them in like a trailer, or like they played some ads before a local movie here in Boston. I was like, wow, okay, I've never seen that. Like
Yeah.
these AEW guys just sort of from the ground up. It seems like they just built it. That seems amazing.
Literally out of nowhere.
And CM
Like,
Punk, who's I know his name, so he's got to be somewhat popular, is now with
hmm
them. Yeah, that's
hmm
pretty awesome. Like what a crazy time to be in. Where
it's
like
I think about it all the time. I'm like, I'm currently in a wrestling universe where I could potentially end up in a match with CM Punk.
we're like
That's pretty wild.
yeah, right? Like the CEO at Viacom, or whoever owns Titan Sports, is just like,
Yeah.
we got who are these AEW guys and how do we be like them? And they're like,
And bam,
right.
there it is.
We're three dudes in a Winnebago who I don't know how they started, but like it's the point that they just did it, and that's like a
Hmm.
crazy cool thing for um I don't know. It feels like art, like the world. Like you can just
Yeah.
do stuff. Like the gate is much less down, which is
Yeah.
for music, right? And it sounds like wrestling as well. So, Trevor, we're on this flying couch. I'm going to bring this rogue flight path back on into the station. Uh, Anything we should know before we punch out here? We're going to check out your music and merch. It's coming soon. Matches in Florida and Georgia.
Hmm.
Um, we want to beware the big bat. Obviously, last thing you want is that elbow just removing your nose bridge and orbital socket.
Yeah.
The the big bat himself. Anything you're working on? Anything we should be looking for in matches?
So the main thing I'm working on now, and I'm gonna go ahead and reveal this since I can
Woo!
say it. So if you go to my YouTube channel and look at and go through the promo videos, if you look at the descriptions, there are numbers and letters there. Those numbers and letters there are because those videos are connected to each other. If you watch them in order, they tell you a story until you get to the end, and then it moves to another story. I've been doing that since 2013, and I want to say like the first one I put up was in like 2015 or so, or 2014. So
You
if you go back through
incorporated.
those,
Oh my god,
you
that's
can you can literally watch me transform into how I am now and see where I'm going next because I've already plotted all that out.
that's
And rather
amazing. That's
rather
some
than wait,
occult shit. Oh my god.
hmm
Oh, like you can
hmm
go on a Lovecraftian runic journey.
you can literally, yeah, and
Oh my.
you can spend hours because there's a lot of videos. And the matches go along with some of the matches I don't have.
Uh-huh.
So I tried to make it so that those matches in particular didn't fit as much into the videos. But some of those videos, the match is right under them. So you can see like what in this match led to the video that comes after it or before
Okay.
it.
Well,
Yeah.
we just went from Streets of Rage 2 to RPG investigation
Yeah,
video
I'm
game.
crazy.
That is okay. This is now officially like one of the coolest episodes ever of Space Couch. So you can not only can you have your mind blown with some incredible displays of
Hmm.
athleticism, you can exercise your think meats and string together hidden lore and forbidden knowledge.
Like
Ladies,
even the song I choose for the video is directly tied to what the video is about. So usually, like, and it's all full of Easter eggs. Like the stuff
oh
I
my
say
god, it's
where
a
I'm
point and click
sitting.
adventure.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous, and I don't know why I started doing it. I was just like, you know what? I feel like doing this, and I haven't been able to stop because I keep coming up with stuff, and if that keeps happening, I'm just gonna keep doing it.
Oh
Plus, it
my
gives me an
god.
excuse for me to evolve as a wrestler, because I went from a guy who just wore some shorts and a jacket to now I have full on armor that I wear. And all those armors have different reasons to be worn, so I don't wear them all the time. For example, like last night I wore my dragon armor. It's a giant red dragon head with a red shoulder piece and everything. And I don't know, I might do something different next week.
Oh, you're building a mythos. You've built a mythos. It's oh my god.
There is a whole lore to everything that I do.
I just thought the Aeon part was like sounding cool. Like, no, you are Aeon's out of time. We are getting mad Lovecraftian up in here. And well, speaking of time, we are at an end here on Couch, but you are hereby welcome back at any time on Couch. But this is Brian for Space Couch, for Trever, for Trever Aeon, saying call the spaceships to Davenport, prepare for Divanarchy, and interface with a couch in space couch. Ouch. Holy shnikes, that was an incredible episode. I keep the audio going over the outro credits
you
here.
got all of
What's that?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you disappeared.
Yeah, something's weird, but that was so great. Thank you so much. I learned a lot. Can't thank you enough for your time.
Fading out.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay.
I hear nothing.